There's something most men will never tell you. The guy who leaves a real mark on a woman's life isn't the one who offers peace. It's the one who brings chaos into our world. And I'm not talking about loud, destructive chaos. No, this kind of chaos is quiet, subtle. It's the kind that makes her question herself when she's around him. He doesn't shout. He doesn't act out. Instead, he causes a shift in her, something that disrupts her certainty about who she is. And when a man does that, he changes everything. Jacques Lacan once said, "Desire is a relation of being to lack." It's not about what a woman says she wants. It's not the flowers or the sweet words or even the affection. What matters is what she can't have. It's about that thing just beyond her reach, that thing she can never fully grasp. It's that sense of lack that makes her feel alive again. That's why the man who doesn't give her everything, the one who introduces that absence, haunts her. The man she dreams of is not the one who loved her perfectly. It's the one who made her feel something she couldn't control. That feeling was so raw, so powerful, that it's almost impossible for her to forget. It's not the man who gave her pain. No, it's the man who gave her lack. That absence became a void in her heart, a space where something deeper, something unfulfilled, grew. The ruthless man, the one who didn't try to win her heart, but rather left her needing more, is the one she'll never quite get over. Jacques Lacan writes, "What constitutes fantasy is precisely the relation to that which is unspeakable." This is key. The man she desires is the one who never allowed her to fully understand him. He's not a puzzle she can solve. He's an enigma, an unanswered question in her mind. She can't label him. She can't define him. He's a mystery. And in that mystery, she finds herself caught. What's even more important here is this. She doesn't dream of the man who checked off all the boxes. She dreams of the one who cracked her reflection, the one who made her feel both small and infinite at the same time. He didn't need to explain himself. He didn't need to beg for her understanding. His silence was all she needed. And in that silence, she found a kind of poetry, a verse that resonated deeply in her soul. It was an unwritten verse, a story she could never fully tell. And that's why every man who comes after him, no matter how sincere, will never quite measure up. You. See, the man she haunts is not the man who gave her everything she needed. No, it's the one who introduced her to that absence. He didn't show her love in the conventional way. He didn't rescue her, but he made her realize something important. She's capable of wanting in a way that's beyond comfort, beyond routine. He ignited a hunger in her that no one else can satisfy, and that hunger is what continues to call to her, even after he's gone. Jacques Lacan wrote, "Love is giving something you don't have to someone who doesn't want it." And this is the problem that many men face when trying to win a woman's heart. They try to give everything, believing that if they offer enough, they'll be chosen. But that's not how it works. What a woman wants is not what she can easily get. She wants the man who makes her feel something that she can't quite put into words. The man who doesn't offer everything she's looking for, but instead leaves her wanting more. The ruthless man doesn't give extra. He doesn't offer more than what's needed, and that's his power. His mere presence is enough to disturb her. He doesn't chase after her. He doesn't respond to every message. He holds eye contact without flinching. He doesn't try to please. And in a world where men scramble for attention, that lack of desperation, that indifference, becomes magnetic. He doesn't seduce her. He doesn't try to make her feel special. Instead, he allows her to project her own desires onto him. He's like a blank canvas, a reflection of her own unconscious. That's why she remembers him. Not because he wooed her, but because he allowed her to create a story about him. And that story, that mystery, will live on long after he's gone. Truth is, You can never compete with a man who gave her nothing but mystery. The more you try to be everything she wants, the more invisible you become. Why? Because the man who haunts her didn't try to be anything. He just was. And what he was, unpredictable, mysterious, silent, created a void she can't quite fill. Every man after him is measured against that absence. Jacques Lacan wrote, "The only thing of which one can be guilty is having given ground relative to one's desire." The ruthless man isn't guilty. He didn't give up his center. He didn't change himself to fit her needs. He stayed true to who he was, and in doing so, he left her wanting more. That's why he becomes unforgettable. He wasn't nice, but he wasn't cruel. He didn't try to make her feel comfortable, but he didn't make her feel unsafe either. What he did was introduce tension into her life. And tension is what makes desire grow. In the world of relationships, men are often told to be kind, to be emotionally available, to be supportive. But when you do that, you're giving her comfort. And comfort doesn't ignite desire. Desire thrives in the unknown. It thrives in tension, in contradiction. The ruthless man understands this better than anyone. He doesn't comply with her needs. He doesn't give her answers. He stays true to himself, and in that process, he makes her feel alive. Now, I want to be clear here. The ruthless man is not the villain. He doesn't hurt her. He doesn't play games, and he doesn't act out of malice, but he doesn't bend for her either. And that is what makes him stand out. It's that resistance, that refusal to conform to her expectations, that creates the tension that she finds irresistible. This is what most men fail to understand. Being good to her is not the same as being unforgettable. You can be kind, you can be loving, and you can be the perfect partner. But if you don't introduce that tension, if you don't challenge her in some way, then you'll fade into the background of her life. You'll be her comfort, but not her fire. And that fire, that desire, is what makes her come alive. The mistake that many men make is trying too hard to be what they think she wants. They think if they show up with all their cards on the table, being emotionally available, consistent and reliable, that she appreciates them more. But the truth is, that's not how desire works. When you make yourself too available, too predictable, she starts to lose interest. It's not because you're a bad person or because she's ungrateful. It's simply because desire thrives on the unknown, on what's just out of reach. Jacques Lacan wrote, "Desire begins to take shape in the margin in which demand rips away from need." What he's talking about here is the space between what a woman needs and what she demands. That gap, that space between what she wants and what she can't have, is where obsession is born. And the ruthless man, the one who doesn't fulfill her every need, the one who keeps some part of himself hidden, is the one who makes her desire grow. He doesn't give her everything she wants. He doesn't fulfill her every demand. But in doing so, he creates a hunger inside her. And that hunger becomes the driving force behind her attraction to him. It's not about what he gives. It's about what he withholds. And that's what makes him unforgettable. The man who haunts her isn't the one who gives her all the love and attention she craves. It's the one who keeps her guessing, who leaves her wondering what he's thinking, what he's feeling. He doesn't try to please her. He doesn't chase after her. Instead, he lets her chase him. And that chase, that pursuit, is what keeps the flame of desire alive. The problem with many men is that they try too hard to please. They think that if they give her everything, affection, attention, validation, she'll appreciate them more. But that's not how it works. What she wants is not validation. What she craves is tension. She wants a man who isn't afraid to resist her, a man who doesn't fold when she asks for something, a man who stays grounded in himself and doesn't compromise for her. That's the kind of man she can't forget. Not the one who gives her everything, but the one who makes her want more. And here's the truth. Most men are too willing to give. They give their time, their energy, their emotions. But they give all of it so freely, so easily, that they become predictable. And when a man becomes predictable, he becomes boring. She knows exactly what to expect from him. She can anticipate his every move, his every word. And that predictability takes away the magic. The man who is predictable is the man who will never be remembered as anything more than a footnote in her life. But the ruthless man? He's anything but predictable. He's not easy to understand. He's not easy to define. And that's what makes him magnetic. He leaves her wanting more because she can't quite figure him out. She can't trap him in her understanding. He's the man who doesn't need her approval, the one who doesn't bend for her. And in that indifference, she finds herself drawn to him even more. And this is where many men fail. They believe that in order to keep a woman, they need to be there for her emotionally and physically at all times. They think they need to offer her stability and support in every way possible. But in doing so, they lose the mystery. They lose the tension that makes her heart race. And once that tension is gone, so is the desire. The woman no longer feels that pull, that urge to chase, because she already has what she needs. She has the man who is always there, always consistent, always predictable. But the ruthless man doesn't give her that comfort. He doesn't give her predictability. He doesn't chase after her. He stays in his own center, grounded in who he is. And in doing so, he makes her chase him. He makes her feel the longing, the ache of desire, because he's the one man who won't be easily understood. He's the one man who won't be controlled. He's the one man who won't be tamed. Jacques Lacan said, "The only thing of which one can be guilty is having given ground relative to one's desire." The ruthless man never gives ground. He never compromises his own desires to fit hers. He never bends to her will. And in doing so, he creates a tension, a longing that no other man can replicate. The men who follow him, the ones who try to please her, will never compare, because they will always be competing against the man who is never fully revealed. They will always be fighting against the ghost of the man who left her wanting more. What this all comes down to is this: desire is not about comfort. It's not about giving everything. It's about tension. It's about creating a space where she can feel something she can't control. And that is what the ruthless man does. He doesn't give her all the answers. He doesn't fulfill all her needs. But in withholding, in keeping a part of himself back, he creates a hunger inside her that she can't ignore. And that hunger is what keeps her coming back. The more a man tries to be what he thinks she wants, the more invisible he becomes. It's like he's trying too hard to earn her affection, too eager to please, and in doing so, he becomes just another face in the crowd. The problem here is that women are not looking for men who will bend over backward to meet their expectations. They're looking for men who can stand firm, who won't fold or change themselves just to fit into her world. The ruthless man doesn't compromise. He doesn't try to be someone he's not. He doesn't chase her approval. Instead, he maintains his own sovereignty. He is his own man, and this is what makes him unforgettable. The moment a man compromises who he is to fit into her life, he loses the very thing that makes him desirable: his strength, his center, his mystery. The ruthless man is a mirror. He reflects back to her the parts of herself that she can't quite reach. He doesn't try to fix her, to rescue her, or to make her feel better. He doesn't give her answers. He simply exists, fully in himself, and by doing so, he creates a space for her to feel everything she has been avoiding. That's why she can't forget him. He was never fully revealed to her, and that unfinished story, that mystery, lives on in her mind. Jacques Lacan wrote, Man's desire is the desire of the other. And this is where most men get it wrong. They think that what a woman wants is to be understood, to be validated. But that's not true. What she really wants is the man who doesn't try to decode her, who doesn't need to figure her out. He doesn't need her to validate him. He doesn't need her to approve of him. And in that indifference, he becomes the object of her desire. The ruthless man is not a villain. He's not cruel. He doesn't hurt her on purpose. But he doesn't give her what she expects either. He doesn't respond to her provocations, her questions, her games. He remains indifferent. And in that indifference, he becomes her obsession. She can't figure him out, and that drives her crazy. She wants to understand him, but she can't. And that's what makes her desire him even more. You see, desire is not about fulfilling all her needs. It's not about being the perfect man who does everything right. Desire is about tension. It's about creating an emotional gap, a space that can't be filled. And that's where the ruthless man excels. He doesn't fill that gap. He leaves it open, and in doing so, he creates a craving inside her that no other man can satisfy. The man who fills that gap, the one who is always available and always giving, will never be remembered in the same way. She may call him cruel. She may say that he was emotionally unavailable, distant, or even toxic. But what she will never say out loud is this: he was the one who gave her something that no other man could. He gave her the experience of longing. He made her feel a hunger, a desire that she couldn't quite name. And that hunger, that ache, is what keeps her coming back to the memory of him. Jacques Lacan wrote, "There is no sexual relationship." What he means is that there is always a gap between man and woman, a place where they can never fully fuse, a place where their desires will always be misaligned. And it is in that gap, in that fracture, that fantasy begins. The ruthless man doesn't try to close that gap. He leaves it open. He doesn't try to fuse with her, to merge into some harmonious union. He lets the gap exist, and in doing so, he becomes the object of her desire. And that's why she can't forget him. Not because he was perfect, not because he gave her everything she wanted, but because he left her wanting more. He left her craving. He was never fully revealed, and that mystery, that unfinished story, is what keeps her coming back to him. Now, here's the thing you need to understand. You can't compete with a man who gave her nothing but mystery. You can't outdo a man who never tried to fulfill her needs. You can't replace a man who left her with an emotional void, a space that no one else can fill. You can't beat a man who didn't try to be what she wanted, but instead remained true to himself, a man who didn't need her approval. What the ruthless man teaches us is this: desire is not about what you give. It's about what you withhold. It's about the tension you create by staying true to yourself and never folding. The man who is always available, who is always predictable, will never ignite desire in the same way. Desire is born from what's just out of reach, from what can't be grasped. So, what's the solution? If you want to be unforgettable, if you want to be the one who haunts her, you need to stop trying to be everything she wants. Stop bending to fit her expectations. Stop chasing her approval. Instead, stand firm in your own center. Be the man who doesn't need her. Be the man who doesn't explain himself, who doesn't reveal everything. Be the man who creates space for her desire to grow, for her hunger to intensify. Jacques Lacan wrote, "To love is to give what one does not have to someone who does not want it." The ruthless man understands this. He doesn't give everything. He doesn't try to be loved. He simply exists. And in his existence, in his indifference, he becomes the object of her desire. He becomes the one she can never forget. And that's the power of the ruthless man. He doesn't need her to need him. He doesn't need her approval. He doesn't need to be understood. And in that indifference, in that mystery, he becomes the one thing she can't let go of, the one thing she will never stop wanting.